welcome. Let me just get the noise. It takes a moment. There we go. Silence is golden, as they say. Welcome to my surgery. I am Dr. Articulate Design, and I will be your psychiatrist for today. Now, before we do anything else, I think we should address the elephant in the room. Neither of us have a drink. Can I offer you anything? A hot beverage, perhaps? A coffee, a tea? No? Nothing? Okay, well, all I ever drink really is water, so I hope you don't mind. It's important to stay hydrated. Now, second point of business. We have the hydration out of the way. Technically, we have our names out of the way. Then the hydration. Now, I'd like to light a candle during these sessions. I think it's quite important to maintain a pleasant ambience. It makes a pleasant noise, but the scent is actually a white linen and lilac, which, how lilac has a flavor, I have no idea, but I assure you, it does. Let me just light it for us. Oh, the inscription. Yes, I'll show it to you in a moment. Wonderful. The inscription is actually a quote from Alexander the Great. Upon the conduct of each depends the fate of all. Now, quite often in history, historical figures are attributed these wild and wonderful sentences of affirmation or inspiration. That, however, I think is one that Alexander did actually recite before a battle, actually, to his troops. He regaled on his giant mount, and I'm sure if I was ready to actually fight to the death, I'd want to hear something as inspiring as the conduct I am performing on this battlefield right here. Helps the entire human race. Anyway, that aside, I have your case file here, and it's quite extensive, actually, and I'd like to start by throwing it away. Okay? What you are in that file is how society and our structures and procedures have classified you. I'd like to make my own assessment of your mental state, your well-being, and general sense of happiness. Okay? We're going to start by taking some pretty standard details. I'd like to know quite a lot, excuse me, about you before I jump to any kind of conclusion as to your overall mental well-being. I think we as a society are always too quick to judge and make assumptions about people based on where they've been and what they've done, and we always think that perhaps we know best, when in actual fact we don't. Okay? Now, it's important for me to emphasize, be relaxed. Okay? I am your friend. I appreciate I'm a psychiatrist, and that might seem like a scary word, and the ramifications and the outcome of our meeting could determine quite a lot in your life. But I'm not a monster. We're here to make you better, to understand what it is that we can do to improve your quality of life. Okay, we might only get one life. We should enjoy it. Okay? Now I want you to sit back and get comfortable. Okay? If you want to close your eyes at any point during this, feel free. Okay? If you feel yourself falling asleep, I'm not even going to make the effort to wake you. Okay, you have me for the entire day. I'm patient. And you're my patient. I use that one all the time. I'm sorry. Most important thing today is to establish a baseline of you. And as I said, your mental state. So, without further ado, I think we should get started. Okay? Good. Now, as I said, the file details a lot of the information I'm about to ask, but I don't care. I like a personal understanding with my client, and that's also important for you to remember. You are my client. You are essentially paying my wage. Okay? I'm not here to manage expectations. I'm here to assure you that we're gonna make sure you're relaxed and that you're happy. Okay? Let's begin. I'd like you to start by giving me your name and your date of birth, if that's okay. Okay? Fine. And whereabouts did you grow up? Were you also born there? Okay. Well, some of these questions that I'm going to ask you, sorry to interrupt, some of these questions I ask, think of them as jigsaw pieces for me, that I'm trying to assemble a picture of you. And there's a common misconception with any kind of mental health. Even the word mental health has common misconceptions. But mental health means that you're usually missing something, or we perceive it as you're missing something. Okay, it might just be you're missing one of these little jigsaw pieces, one of these little parts that if somebody helps you to discover it, you'll find that it slots in perfectly, and everything in the world, all the confusion and the concern and the feeling of unease disappears. Suddenly everything in this world suddenly makes sense. And that's what I'm here to do today. To start identifying the pieces. Maybe we can find one that might be missing or needs to be reshaped. Maybe you've been trying to fit a part of this puzzle into the wrong slot your entire life. And as I said, we as a society brand that as put you in a category that you're a kind of person. When, in all honesty, maybe you were just somebody that needed some help. Okay? Good. So, I've got your name, your age, where you were born, and where you grew up. Okay, now we can start delving into the nitty-gritty, as we say. Let me just catch a drink. Of course. Absolutely. Okay. Were you raised in a single parent environment, or... Okay. And your mother and your father are... Okay. Are they a happy couple, or when you remember them, were they always happy together? Okay. That's interesting. And your father, what kind of things did he do when he came home from work? What was a typical day for or a typical evening for your father, for example? Okay. It's not as unusual as you might think. Okay. No. And your mother, what did a typical day look like for your mother? Again, these questions might seem indirect or unspecific. But again, I'm just assimilating this picture of you. Okay. Now, do you think you'd classify your childhood and your upbringing as a happy one? Okay. And again, your most immediate reaction to these questions are probably the most indicative and the most relevant for me. Okay, I don't want you to try and pretend anything. I don't want you to try and cover for anyone. I want you to be as honest and as clear as you can be. Because it's imperative we get this right. But you're doing really, really well. Okay? Your answers so far have been perfect. I'm a taskmaster. What can I say? Okay. Okay. And when did you leave school? At what point? Okay. You can probably guess where my line of questioning is going here. What did the 5-year-old you want to be? Really? I've heard some weird and wonderful answers, but that's up there. But that's not a relevant factor. Don't worry. Okay. And what did the 16-year-old you want to do with your life? Okay. Why do you think that changed? I have patients who I obviously won't name and cannot name that come in and tell me that at 7 years old they wanted to do this. 16-year-olds still wanted to do it. At 21 they still wanted to do it. Of course, my question then is, why didn't you? Why only get one crack at this life? If there's something you want to do consistently, go and do it. Make it happen. But that's for later. Okay. Change of career. It's kind of odd how you went from the 5-year-old dream to the 16-year-old dream. They're opposite ends of the spectrum. Now we go off on our first kind of our first tangent from my standard line of questioning. What was it? Was it one thing, or was it a slow progression that took you away from this career choice over to here in the space of 11 years? That sounds like a long time, but okay. Oh, really? Well, I find that quite curious that, okay. So because, I understand that. Okay. Fine, I'm going to draw a line under that just now. I'm going to come back to this. This is something that we will explore, but I still want to build up the profile of you before we delve into the specifics. This is quite a high level pass at things, and we'll drill down to greater detail in the next session. What do you do now? What does the job situation look like? And okay, and how long have you been doing that for? Okay, fine. Now, when you wake up in the morning to go to this job, how do you feel? And that might sound like a generalization or quite a general question, but what I mean is, do you have that feeling at the bottom of your stomach that says, I really, really don't want to go to work today. I can't face the thought of going to work. Or is it more of a case of, oh God, I have to go to work? So you're currently on the management training program. Okay. Okay. Now we're getting to the crux of it. Okay. You started this management training program a year ago, and you're finding the stress of the amount to learn and the responsibility allocated to you a little bit too much to take. Okay, I understand. Well, yeah, I understand that. Okay. Well, I obviously know from your case file that you've been off work now for almost 7 months. Was the stress and the anxiety, was the promotion and the change in responsibility the absolute root cause? Or was there something else going on at home, perhaps, that maybe in combination acted as a perfect catalyst to... Okay. Fine. Again, I'm going to draw another line under this. I probably went further with that than I should have. But sometimes people can be reluctant to give an answer as honestly and as sincerely as you just did. And I didn't really want to interrupt that train of thought with a question that wouldn't add anywhere near as much value as what that little segment just did. Okay? That was excellent. Okay, I have a few more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, yeah. So out with the job, out with the stress and the worry of this needing to pass the training program. What does life look like at home? What does that look like for you when you go home? Really? Okay. I understand. It can't be easy having to take care of a parent that's not doing very well. That's see, quite often in life, if we have a particularly stressful job, or it doesn't even need to be stressful, a job that makes us unhappy or adds burden to us, it's important to have, and you hear about it all the time, this work-life balance, but you need to have an environment to escape to. Okay? And again, we're racing ahead here for essentially session 1. But that environment, that happy, stress-free factory is imperative. Okay? So to know that you're coming from one stress-orientated environment, coming home to an emotionally intense environment, that cannot be easy for you at all, and honestly, I really feel for you. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that it's not all bad. You don't want to paint an unrealistic representation of what it's like, but I appreciate the insight for that. Thank you. Okay. When you're not caring for anyone else, when you're not at work, when you're not doing anything, what would you choose to do in your spare time? By the sounds of it, you don't really have a great deal, but what little time you do have, how do you like to spend it? Okay. Me too. Yeah. Control warrior, of course. Yeah. I'll give you my battle tag. You can add me. Doctor-patient confidentiality, and I don't think we're meant to have any kind of friendship out with this, but who cares? Okay. Anything else? Is there anything else that you haven't mentioned that you would choose to do if you were given the choice? Other than winning the lottery, something you normally can do. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yep. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put a hold on things there for just now. Obviously, this was part 1, your first session. I'm going to take my notes and try and recreate this case file that I have on you, because it's clearly full of inaccuracies that even spending only 20 minutes with you, I can discern that on my own. Anybody else could be. You don't need to be a doctor to understand that. You are clearly a very, very caring person. Okay? And I don't want you to leave here today thinking there's anything wrong with you. Because there's not. Quite easily and quite simply. There's not. Okay? You have some unhappiness in your life that's causing your emotions to betray you. Simple as that. People act irrationally and in strange ways when their emotional balance isn't right. Okay? You didn't kill anyone. I shouldn't laugh about it, but I don't want you to go home today and beat yourself up. You're a wonderful, wonderful human being, and between the two of us, we're going to get through this and address all of these little jigsaw pieces that are out of kilter, that aren't quite fitting in as they should. When we're finished with you, you're going to look like the Mona Lisa. I actually don't care for the Mona Lisa. Curiously. That I'm insinuating you're a woman, if you can believe the Da Vinci Code, in drag. Absolutely. Okay. Now, once you take your time, as you get up, there's no rush for you to leave. Okay? You can go away, get some lunch, come back, and we'll start the second session. Okay? Perfect. You've been absolutely fantastic. You really have been. Relax and keep smiling. I'll see you soon.